Well, hello, hello, hello. Happy Saturday, you all. Welcome to the Success Code Fireside Chats, where we debunk all the myths about success and we speak from a place of conscious leadership and business and real talk. So, happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Another amazing week where I've met so many amazing human beings. You know, when you go out there, and it's really cool that we are able to start going out in the world again and kind of move away from the idea that virtual is everything and start tapping into human connections again. It kind of shifts the energy and makes you feel alive again, right? Doesn't it? How many of us are out there doing that again in their lives? And here we go. I'm bringing my friend on here. So today I am super excited for my guest today and the conversations we're going to have. This woman is an amazing human being, and I'll tell you more about her in 1 second. And I'm going to give her an opportunity to share with her own words who she is. And one of the things that, I started telling you about how going back to live experiences where you're going out and meeting people as opposed to virtually makes you really think about who you are in the world. You know, when you sit behind a camera, like we're sitting behind a camera right now, we can put on all the facades and the mask and, change the tone of voice. And if you're not an expert in those things, in other words, in how to read body language, how to read tonality, how to read those things, you tend to miss the cues that people are giving you, right? When you're out there and experiencing people in an individual in-person experience, you're able to, even if you're not an expert, you're able to kind of like tap into their energies. I'll share with you, even last night, um, I was at two events yesterday. I was on an event spree yesterday, and it was a successful event. We're talking about success, right? It was a successful event, and uh, we had a little thing happen, right? We had a little thing happen there, and the reason why it wasn't as bad as it was because I was actually reading the cues, the body language cues, and I saw it was like a slow motion as the stuff was happening. It was slow motion, so I grabbed my phone right away because I was in tune to the woman. So why am I sharing this with you? Success is not just about you. Success is about other people. Success is about being aware. And success is also whatever you deem it to be. Yay. So I'm going to jump right in and I'm going to introduce my guest today in the conversation. This is Miss One and Only, the fabulous Camille Robb. Camille is one of those people when you meet her, she's like this. For me, my experience of her, she's this soul that she just comes into your world, and just with the smile alone, she kind of like just calms you down. And no matter what is going on, and I think she has mastered how to maneuver chaos is how I experience her. She's mastered how to maneuver chaos. Camille is a global speaker. I'm going to give you the accolades: global speaker, educator, entrepreneur, legacy builder, right? So that's why today's episode, we're going to talk about legacy over likes. That's what we're going to talk about today. Within the idea of debunking the myths, we're going to talk about legacy over likes because she is good at that crap. So I'm super excited that you're here, Camille, and I can't wait to share you with the audience. So outside of what I said just now, what would you like to um, introduce yourself as to the audience?
Well, hello, everyone. And thank you so much, Lorna, for inviting me. It's a pleasure being here with you today.
Absolutely.
For me, I'm a mom. First of all, before anything else, I am the mother of
Uh-huh.
thousands of children, but I gave birth to two. I've been married for 30. 2 years now to the same man.
Wow. Power to
Yeah.
you, girl. I was out at 40. So power to you.
So
Mhm.
I don't know what it's like being alone.
That's for another show. We're gonna bring that on because that's such a good point. This is not the show today, but that's such a good point. What you said, you don't know how to be alone, because there's a distinction between alone and lonely, right? So,
Yes, yes.
um, we're gonna do a show on that because I think it's a super important topic, and I think once we enable people to kind of look at that, then it's gonna shift them. So, Camille, where are you right now? Because before we got on, we were talking about where you are and what you're experiencing in that room. So tell us a little bit about, if you want to share. Tell us a
Sure,
little
no
bit about where you
problem.
are and a little bit about what you're learning, because it's totally aligned with what we're going to talk about, right? Legacy over likes, but
Yeah.
um, tell me where you are right now and
So,
what you're learning.
yes, of course. You got that beautiful introduction that you did before. So I'm in Orlando, Florida. That's where I'm local. That's where I'm from. And I'm at an AI conference. So it's an
Mm,
AI business automation. So it's teaching you how to speak to AI so AI can help you to elevate your business. But
mm,
we are in a different world right now because AI is like taking over everything.
mm.
Everything. In this room, there's so many people more caught up into who AI is than who they are.
See, that's why I wanted you to say something.
Well, you know, if you're gonna ask a sister to say something, you know I'm gonna speak the truth. I ain't saying
Yes,
something to lie
yes,
about.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
and that's one of the thing when I'm looking around in the room, I'm like, oh my God, these people are caught up into who AI is and not who they are. People are now forgetting how to communicate with each other, how to talk to each other. We no longer have this thing where it says, "Hey girl, how you doing? Everything good with you and your family?" No, they send you a text or they send you an automation voice and it goes and it comes. Come on, we are losing that human part of us.
Yeah, it's a serious situation, you know. It's
Oh,
serious situation, and it's so funny that I started talking about where I was and the events and all the things, and now you're
yes,
saying it, right? I
yes.
can't make this stuff up. Um, so for me, one of the things I love AI. Here's
Oh,
why
I
I love
love AI now. Don't get me confused now.
I use AI to collapse time, right?
Yes, yes,
Right? And
yes.
if anybody knows me, I'm known as a woman who collapses time for entrepreneurs, right?
That's right.
So I'm gonna use it to collapse time. But here's what I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna use it to 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 press down who I be in the world, who I am. I am is a powerful statement, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
to hear you say that in that room, how many people are in the room? About how many? How many people in
Probably
that room?
about 500 people.
500 people. Guys, I want you to hear this, because this is speaking to the legacy that we're talking about here today. If 500 people, just think about it, if 500 people are in a room learning how to program a machine to think for them, and they implement all of it, let's say 50% of them implement, imagine how many people are going to be walking around here like zombies. That's a good definition of an alien,
Yeah.
wouldn't you
Too late.
say?
Our children are no zombies because all they do is walk around with the iPhone and the Androids attached to their head, and
Mhm.
they're not in this world anymore. So
They're not in
we're
this
not.
world.
We're not.
So what would you say, what would you say would be a solution or an alternate way of like inviting AI into our world?
So for me, when it comes to the children, there's no substitute. You
Mhm,
cannot use a pad or a phone to substitute parenting. You
mhm,
have to take time out to have conversation with your children because if
mhm,
you don't, somebody else will, and it'll end up being in the wrong place. So
mhm,
we as human have to step back for a little bit and figure out, okay, is this what I want for my children generation to
mhm,
come? We
mhm.
have to correct that. And if we don't, we're going to get caught up in this AI world and we won't have a future. I'm just saying, it helps. It helps a lot because I use it to, like you said, collapse time. But at the same time, you got to know when to walk away and get back to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Walk away and get
S-
back to you.
s-
I
I don't
know,
even.
girl. I
Mm.
know. I know.
You see
I
me over
see
here
it.
tongue tied, right? And you know I'm never tongue tied.
I see it. I see it. The pain,
Yeah,
boy.
yeah. It's kind of painful. It's kind of painful.
Mhm.
And
It
and
is.
how about, I mean, this is so serious on so many levels, because already, if you already don't know who you are and you're allowing AI to take over your identity, one of the things I talk about
She said
in
that.
my programs is identity. Matter of fact, the event I'm having next week, right? The first day is all about identity, right? Because we got to get people back to their identity. So if they're already giving away their identity to AI, right? Unconsciously, right?
Hmm.
How do you think? How do you? I mean, I can't even perceive the world that we're gonna have in the next year or two. I'm not even going far. I'm just saying year or two, right? How do you see what the world is gonna look like in a few?
Well, what I've seen so far, you said zombie. The
Mm,
adults are zombie, but the children are also zombies.
mm.
And it's going to help, but at the same time, it's going to hurt. So the
So say
helping
more,
part,
say more about that part though, because I don't. We can say it's gonna hurt, but sometimes people need like distinctive, specific.
example.
Yes.
So for the help part,
Mm-hmm.
it helps you to understand more about certain system that normally the brain don't pick it up as fast as it would as the AI would.
Mm-hmm.
But and help you to get to certain level in certain business, especially in business adventure. But when it comes to you as a person and how it's going
Mm-hmm.
to hurt, our especially our children, they no longer want to pick up a book in their hand and read it. They no longer want to go outside and physically play because your body
Mm-hmm.
need to physically go out, fall over, especially for children, scrape your knee, get a little bruise, so your brain can says, "Oh, that was
That hurt.
pain. That
Mm-hmm.
hurts. Okay, let me go find my mom. Let her fix it." But no, we don't have that knowing. We have children that sits on the computer and all they'll tell you is that their thumb hurt. That they're feeling pain in their thumb. Why? Because you sit so long in front of it. So it's going to hurt. It's for children who, especially students who cannot cook. Because what they do now is they pick up. I have an exchange student program, and these
Mm-hmm.
students they'll call in a minute Uber Eats to go drop off a soda, because they're so caught up in the game that they playing and they don't want to miss out. I'm like, come on, man. So
Mm.
it's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. And as human being, we need to step back and say, okay, I'm going to give this much time here and I'm going to give this much time here. When my husband come home at night and we sit down to have dinner, there's no phone conversation. Him
Mm.
and I are looking at each other, and I have to listen to him with his stuff that went on. Okay. And I sit there and I just listen because that's what I do. I
Yeah.
want to run, but I sit there and I listen. And I say, okay. And then he'll ask me, so what did you do today? What was different? And we talk.
Yeah.
People don't do that anymore.
Mm. People don't do that anymore. That's so you're saying a lot of things, so many things, so many things. To in order for that, I don't even think people connect the dots with sitting in front of the computer and playing the game all the time. It's a discipline, right? You said discipline. It's a habit that is formed, and it's so simple to shift that people miss it, right? It's literally making a decision to do a different thing with just as much intensity, right? And just as much desire as playing the machine. You just
Mhm.
got to find the thing that makes you want to give to the world, right? And give to yourself so that
Yes.
you can, right?
Yes.
it's the same thing. All you gotta do is just flip it over.
That's it. That's
That's
it.
all you gotta do. But it's
We
not easy for people to see it that way. That's what I'm finding, right? Is that discipline. People have such a what's the word am I looking for? They have such a resistance against the word discipline because they have connected the word discipline with hard.
yeah.
You see that?
And it's
So,
not. And
and
it's
it's
not.
not. It's actually just as easy as sitting on that little thing. So what if we train the kids to find something else that they love to do, right? And and start doing it with as much intensity. It will solve a lot of problems, including AI problems. Don't you think?
Yes, it is. Yes, it will.
Yeah.
We just have to help them figure it out.
Figure it out. So I want to shift. You see me looking at my notes because I had some questions I want to bring into the conversation, and also bring in a little bit of your sauce into into the conversation. So Camille, tell me a little bit about, if whatever you want to share about your history and what caused you to come into this idea of legacy building. I know that you feed a lot of people in Florida on a weekly basis, multiple times a week, and I think that what you're doing is phenomenal. And when we are complete with this show, I want you to give me the link so that we can attach it to the show so people can go in, and if they feel led to support and donate to your cause, then they can do so. So you do a lot of things, including feeding people. So tell me what led you to that. If you want to share a little bit of your history, what led you to what you do right now today, because I think that is part of legacy, right? And
Yes.
today we're talking about from it's not about likes, it's about legacy, right? So
Yes.
talk to me about all the things, whatever you want to share about how you've moved through the different stages, because I'm sure there were challenges along the way. There's nobody I know who's building a legacy who has not been through challenges, right? And I feel like you are the epitome of um, legacy now versus the legacy when you're dead, right?
Yeah.
Legacy, your legacy will continue far beyond when you leave this realm, because you've impacted so many people since they were kids. So in my brain it goes to, oh my god, even one person that has gone through your internship program, imagine how many kids they're going to have, right? They're going to have kids, their kids are going to have kids, and their kids are going to have kids. And for me that is like, you never know, Jamaican's gonna come out in a minute.
I love it.
We can't even add that up, right? You can't add it up, right? So
No.
that's how I see you. That's how I see you, is this person who is impacting so many lives by keeping them alive, right, in their time
Yes.
of need. So I've said enough because I absolutely adore you. I want you to share with the audience what got you on this trajectory of legacy building.
You know, I want to, yeah, you know what? I'm going to talk about this because that was not my intention today, but you just brought something to me that was said to me yesterday.
Hmm.
Whew, I got a little emotional when it was said to me. So my my brother wife came to visit,
Hmm.
and a friend of mine that had his son in my daycare, he's been looking for me and
Hmm.
can't find me. I said, I still have the same number. He just have to call.
Hmm.
And she was telling me what he was saying about me.
Hmm.
And I was like, man, why didn't he tell me that when I was here? So I'm talking about right now. Why didn't he tell me when I was taking care of his son? Because I run a home daycare,
Hmm.
and his son was in my daycare. And I kept sending him home with homework, and because that's how I help my students. And I was sending home homework, and he was like, This little boy is 2 years old. What he doing with homework? I say you have
Building
to
a
practice.
habit,
I say
discipline.
you have
Oops.
exactly. I said, you have to practice now so you could
Mhm.
have a better future. He said, but he's a child. And his mom used to complain the same thing too. I said, but this little boy that you have here, he's going to be a genius because he's very smart. And all he need right now is just for you as a parent to be on the same pace with him. And he
Mhm.
was like, nah, he's into playing football, this is what he like. I said, well, that football is not what he's going to need when he need to get that education. So I'm going to give him the education and you take him out to so he could play the football. That boy graduated from UCF. I think it was UCF. She said he graduated from college as one of the most sought of student when it comes to computer programming, and he has nothing but numbers. There was two students graduated from college. He was number one, and
Wow.
his father said, if it wasn't for Miss Rob, if it wasn't for Miss Rob, I said, okay, I need you to put that on video, send it to me so I can add it to my website. Because she was literally, when she was telling me, she said, he was like saying, it didn't, it wasn't me who did it. This woman took my son and having him pumping the education in him. And now look at him. I said, this is how it is. But it was
Yeah.
not always like that for me growing up.
Mhm.
Growing up as a kid from Jamaica, I grew up with a young mom. I was with a young mom that didn't know anything about
She didn't know
being a
anything.
parent.
Mhm. Mhm.
So my grandmother is the one who took me in. And she had her own 7 children to take care of. So I was this little thing that came in the world that nobody pretty much wanted me. But my grandmother took me. And when I was born, she told me, she said, you are going to be an absolutely fabulous child. And that's who you're going to be. You're going to put smile in people's faces that will never ever know who you are, but because you smile at them, you're going to make them feel like they could do anything in the world.
Yes.
You are going to be that child for somebody that is in need. I didn't know that,
Yeah.
but she
Yeah.
did. You know,
Yeah.
I was there trying to figure out when my mom took us away from my grandmother. I had to figure out, as the oldest, I had two brothers. I had to figure out, how am I gonna feed them? When you're with your grandma, you get all kind of good stuff.
But
But when
I
you
know,
go
right?
where you're with mom, she's gone trying to hustle because it was her. She was trying to hustle, trying to do this and do, and you as the how they do the oldest child, we
Yeah.
their slaves.
Uh-huh.
So I had to,
You're the second mother. Uh-huh.
yeah. So I had to figure out, okay, where the food is coming from. Because when my two brothers them start and they're hungry, they become like little gremlins. You hear me? Them kids come like little monsters. And they want to get mad at you. And I'm like, listen, I know you're hungry, so am I. But I'm gonna find some food.
Yeah.
And Lorraine, I remember sometimes I get emotionally caught up in this thing. I remember when I was living in the city, there was a guy next door. He had two big dogs. And Jamaican people feed their dog very well. I mean, that turned cornmeal with a chicken fat. And I'm telling you,
Oh my
I
goodness.
used I took my bowl. I remember that little faded red bowl that I had. I took it, I wrap it up in my dress. I'm sticking in my panty. You hear the Jamaica come out in me? I'm sticking in my panty. You guys say underwear.
Uh-huh.
And I crawl underneath the barbed wire and I move the fence. And I
Wow.
go in there and usually sit and wait. And when the dogs them, because they're excited to see me and me pet them and I talk to them, and they used to just let me eat first. They used to let me eat out of their bowl first before they put their mouth in it.
Wow.
This is why I said dogs have more passion than people.
The people. Wow. Wow.
They used
I
to
never
make this
have you
little.
told that story before? Do you tell
I've
that
told
story?
the story not this way.
Wow. That is so powerful. That is, you have to tell that story then more often, because that connects the dots for me. You know how sometimes some people, they do what you do, but they do it
And you don't
to get the
understand.
accolades. You get what I'm
Uh-uh.
saying? It's a different
Yeah.
energy. What you just shared, again, just connected the dots in my mind about the passion that you have for feeding people. You get what I'm saying? That just, it
Yeah,
just clicked.
I get it.
It just clicked. Wow.
But but that is it, because when I ate that food
Yeah.
and I fill that bowl up and I put it, wrap it up back again, because it was warm. It was
Yeah.
warm, and I get back underneath that fence, and you have to cover it to make sure nobody know that you were there.
Yeah.
And I went inside and I fed my two brothers.
Wow.
All them suckers could do with that ton calming in them belly and some water, all they could do was go to sleep. You hear me?
Yeah.
And that
Wow.
gave me that peace of mind where I could go back and say, okay, now I got to figure out what I'm going to do later for them. You see,
Yeah.
people don't understand. I feed because I see the need. That's why I feed. I was
Yeah.
one of those children that didn't know where the next meal was coming from.
Yeah.
And I made up my mind that as long as God give me life and give me the strength, nobody should be hungry. We
Yeah.
throw away more food than anything else in this United States of America.
Yeah. Yeah.
We throw away a lot of food.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
people, the people that I serve, that is living in the woods. Why? Because everything is so expensive now. We one paycheck short of being homeless.
Mm.
But nobody don't look at that way. They so worry about their needs.
Mm. That's powerful.
Many times I get phone calls from people, Miss Rob, it's summer and the kids are out of school, ma'am. Do you have anything? I just opened up my WhatsApp message, and one of the guys said, Miss Rob, I got three kids at the house. You have any food that I can get from you? And this is somebody that can take care of themselves. But when the summer comes, kids are out of school, because you know where the kids eat at, right? School.
At school.
So
There's such a need out there. There's such a need. So I'm definitely gonna put your link up on this so that we can see what we can generate for you. You know, it's so funny that you're in the conversation, and I don't even have to ask the questions over here. Because you're just you're answering all my questions. But what I want to ask you right now is, and I didn't mean this to be an interview style. We were having a conversation,
it's okay.
but
It's
you're
okay.
saying so many things, and thank you for sharing your story, Camille,
You're
because
welcome.
I think that that is so powerfully connected to your mission. You know, I talk about mission and vision and goals and plans in the business realm, but I can see how you have created a holistic um plan for you have a whole holistic ecosystem where that is concerned, right? Because that mission for you is so big that it drives everything. Not because I know a little bit about you, it drives, I see where it drives everything that you do, every place that you show up, even you being in the AI summit today. That's why you're there, because you got to stay ahead of the
Yes.
game, right?
Yes.
On how to serve these kids, as it's not just about feeding them, it's about
No.
educating them about
It's
what to expect in the world that they're coming into, right? And you're right, most people are just so focused on themselves and how much they can get that
that's
nobody else
it.
is looking. You know, it's a huge opportunity. That leads me to, what price do you think, and this is this is the real talk part. I mean, we've been real talking all the time, but the price, what's the price that we're paying for not paying attention?
Hmm. The price we're paying for not paying attention is losing everything that we who we are.
Yeah.
We're losing who we are.
Yeah.
We don't have any empathy anymore. We
Mm.
don't show love anymore. People are not what they used to be anymore. You know, I
So
met
how
a
do we navigate that though? Because me hear what I said, me hear what I said, but
we,
it's a real question. It's a real question because again, identifying these people based on human connection as opposed to virtual as opposed to virtual and the other thing, right? The human being,
yes.
right? So how do we maneuver that?
Well, the easiest way to maneuver that
Mm-hmm.
is to start becoming human again, because we need each other. We need each other. No matter how many AI you have, you still need human interaction. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot live in this world just focusing on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to remember that it takes a village, it still takes a village to help our young children, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time to help each other. Do you know who your neighbor is? Have you ever spoken to your neighbor? Do you know that to this morning my husband got up and he's on his way to take his neighbor to go pick up a table? And he said to me last night, we have always had conversation, but this has been 22 years here, and he have never asked me to come and pick up something for him. I said, because he's more comfortable with you. Every morning when my husband, Saturday morning when my husband go out to reap in the garden, he reach over, Mr. Hector, sir, I have something for you. He put a bag over there with some dasheen, a bag with some chayote. He put avocado over there. He put star fruit over there. I take the bags and I walk up to the street and I go to Omar. He lived right next door. I go down to the street to Jason, my neighbor, and I gave him food. You see, we have to remember that people are going to be people, but we have to step up and do that one thing, be different from everybody else.
Wow. 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 So you said something just now that I wanna dig a little bit deep into. You said we gotta stop focusing on ourselves, but I want you to say a little bit more about that. Here's my take on that because um I'm still coming from the world of you gotta pour from a you can't pour from an empty cup. What
Right.
would you say about that? Right?
Yeah.
Because and the reason why I'm bringing it up, Miss Fabulous, is because that's the same side of the coin, right?
Yep.
If you're focusing on other people but you're not taking care of yourself, which by the way, remember the story I told when we just started our conversation? That's how the situation happened at the party last night. Come to find out, the person wasn't taking care of themselves, right? They were always taking care of other people. They were exhausted and their body just went no more and fell. That's it.
Hmm.
She just fell
Self
out.
self care, man. Self care. You got to take care of yourself.
So
Yesterday
I
I
just
was
wanted
at
to.
the event. Yesterday I
Mhm.
was at an event, and so Wednesday I serve. We fed over 300 people on Wednesday. Thursday I went and pick up food and deliver it to a different location. Friday, so I didn't come home until Friday morning, minutes to 3. Lay down for about 2 hours, got up, prayed, had to prepare some stuff so my husband can take it to the guys them that work with us so they could have food to eat. Then got myself to the event. The event is all day from it started, I got here 8:30 until what, 7 something. So last night I said to them, I said, I cannot stay here. I'm done. And she says, what's the matter? She said, I said, I'm done. My brain is on
Mhm.
overload. I have to go home
Mhm.
and get some sleep. She said, but the ladies are going to be meeting and everybody wants to meet you. I say, if I go meet with anybody right now, I am going to
No good.
flip. She
Yeah.
said, "Oh, you mean you're going to flip?" I said, "My brain is going to shut down and I'm going to pass out. I'm going to flip over, literally fall over." She said, "Can't you stay just for a little bit?" I said, "Trust me." And she looked at me. She said, "Oh, wow, your eyes are red." I said, "I'm working on over 4 hours sleep. I usually get 8 hours sleep. So I have to go take care of me. You have to take care of your me. Yes, that means self love you. But at the same time, if you can help somebody else find, I, we had a guy named Chuck. He's a veteran. He didn't have a way to get to the doctor. He was catching a bus and he has a cane.
Hmm.
I saw him. My husband said, "Okay, I got a bike, his own bike." My husband gave him his bike
Wow.
so he can get to the doctor. That man cried so hard. And I have to ask him, I said, so why are you crying? He said, "I've never seen people like you before. We don't
Hmm.
have these kind of people anymore." I say, "You must always remember, God always have a ram in the bush, and I am
Mm.
that ram. God
Wow.
always have a ram in that bush, and my husband is that ram. God always have a ram in this bush. It's all of my team that is behind me, making sure that we supply the needs of others. We are the ram."
Wow.
JFCforyou.org. If you want a ram, just reach out.
Yeah.
We will be that ram for you.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh. That's so powerful. The fact that you connected that with the ram in the bush, right? It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for how we get to live, right? Um, that is, you just brought a whole different conversation in my head. So let me focus here, so that we can really we can really impact these people. So I want to ask you feel and seem pretty rooted in your conviction. Like, what is it for you that is the anchor that keeps you going? I said it. That's kind of like a thing. Yeah, it's still an anchor. Yeah. What's
So
the
for
anchor for you?
me, what keeps me going is that I was brought here in this world by God for a reason. Think about it. My mom was a young mom, and trust me, she tried to get rid of me because she didn't know any better. But with all that happened, God kept me. So he kept me for a reason.
Hmm.
When I came into the world and my grandmother took me in, it was for a reason. When I came into this country at the age of 17, with no help from no one, there was no internet. Anything you needed, you had to go in the phone book. Coming from a different country with nobody to help me, I had to figure it out. I had to become a solution for my own self. So I had to learn. I had to learn, how am I going to find this college that I need to go to complete my nursing degree?
Hmm.
Being a foreigner in the United States is not an easy job because they look at you like you
You
crazy and they
crazy.
think you're coming to take your job from them. And all I'm trying to do is survive on my own. And I'm
Oh
telling
my
you,
goodness.
nobody would help. So I became a solution for myself.
Oh,
And I
power.
said, if anybody ever meet me and they ask me for my help, I will help them because
Yeah.
I am a solution, not a problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what
I love that.
we need to
Oh,
become a solution for other people.
yes. Yeah. 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 And I love that you I just love how you share. You're so succinct with your conversation, because what I just heard you say is that in order to become a solution for other people, you really got to go through it for yourself, right?
Oh
You got to
yeah.
become the solution for yourself. I think that's a missing piece of the conversation for most people, especially those coming into entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we get in entrepreneurship. I understand that we get to find a solution of people for the people. You like look for the solution. Look for the solution. It's all
Mm-hmm.
around you. People have a problem. Find a solution to the problem and sell it to them, and then you win, right? But I think some of the disconnect in that is that some of the people who are doing that, and let me say the disconnect in sustainability, let me add that word
Mm-hmm.
in. The disconnect in sustainability is the fact that you've never had to solve your own problem before. You know what I'm saying? Um, a business that was handed down to you that your mother, your father created, and then you inherited. Well, they already solved the problem, so you didn't even have to figure out how to solve the problem, right? Um, so that was a big thing that you just said is find a solution, become the solution, and that's how you win, right? You win
Yes.
in every area, whether it's money you're looking for or impact you're looking for, fulfillment. You got to become the solution, right? So that
Yes.
is that's like a huge key to this whole thing. So what would you say to a woman who is building, what was one thing as we close out, what's the one thing that you would say to the woman who's building legacy? What's the one thing that you would say to her?
So the one thing I would say to a woman that's building legacy, always remember, it's not always about you. It's about setting a foundation that somebody else can follow.
Mm,
Putting together and becoming that solution for the next person.
mhm.
Because my grandmother always said, until you have been there, you can't teach it.
Yeah.
In Jamaica,
Yeah.
they say, "For my shoes can't fit you." In English, if you don't know what's going on in your shoes, you can't walk in a
Can't
mine.
blame mine. That's right. That's right. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Wow. 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 We could just do a masterclass on this whole conversation. This was so powerful, so powerful. A lot of takeaways. At the end of the day, that's the key. Become the solution,
Yes,
right?
it
You've
is
been
solution.
all the things you've shared today with us. I think that the biggest thing is become the solution. And in order to become the solution, you got to be connected to yourself. Can't be connected to
Yes,
AI.
ma'am.
You got to be connected to yourself so that you become so astute to who you are and overflowing that you can share your gifts with other people and you can really see people for who they are and see their needs. One of the things you said was that you saw the need of the person, right? Your husband gave away a bike because he saw the need of the person, right? And so a lot of people, that all at the end of the day, it's all awareness. You got to become aware
Hmm.
of who you are in order to become aware of the other people around you. So Camille, thank you so much for sharing your heart, sharing your story. Thank you for sharing that story about how you had to feed your brothers. That's so powerful, girl. So powerful. So tell people in words, because we're going to put your link on this recording. Tell people where they can find you, how they can stay in touch with you, how they can, hear more of your juicy stories and experiences. And as you continue to build legacy one person at a time.
So thank you so much, Lorna, for inviting me. This was absolutely fabulous. You had me laughing the entire time. And it was very comforting because you go sometime you go speak, you're like, okay, when is it over? But oh, Camille, stop
Stop
it.
it.
Okay. All right. So for all those entrepreneurs out there, and you know who you are, always remember that you are a solution for somebody else's problem. Your
Mhm.
story, need to be told, it need to be said. And if you want to connect with me, there's two ways you can find me. On any of the social media, just look for this blonde-headed chick, which is me, Fabulous Camille Robb. You could find me on Just Fabulous Camille. You could find me at, as a matter of fact, you want to know how you could be a part of my nonprofit? I'll tell you a little secret. It's jfcforyou.org. It's simple. You go on it, you send me a message, and if you need a ram in the bush, I can be there. My husband hate this part, and I know he's going to tell me about it. And you could also message me on WhatsApp at 407-489-5738. I tell him it's my phone. If I don't want to answer, I don't have to. And then for all those people who's trying to get, don't try it. Don't try it. Don't
It's very
try it.
astute, people. Don't try it. Don't try
Don't
it.
try it. Don't try
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, Camille. Wow. Um, I just love your energy. Just love your energy. I always, and it took us so long to get into communion, right? Because how long we know you for again? It had
Long,
to be
long
like
time.
4 years, maybe. I mean, I don't even know.
No,
But look,
no,
I
it's
mean,
more than
longer than that.
4 years. Yes.
Whoa, wait, whoa,
We
whoa, whoa.
I met you in 2018.
Jeez, Louise, girl.
Yes.
But
And
see
then
the.
you disappear in 2020.
Uh
Totally
Dark.
went dark. You totally went dark, and then you
Uh
came.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
kept seeing you though. I kept seeing you. I kept seeing. I was like, look at her. Look at Lord. Look
God
at her.
is God is, we listen. Here's the one thing I will leave with you guys today. Everything happens for a reason,
Yes.
and everything happens in season. I
Yeah.
really strongly believe that. So as you are thinking about, okay, a lot of people talk about, oh, I want to leave a legacy. Well, you get to figure out what that gets to look like, number one. But always remember that it starts with you. It
Yes.
starts with you. And it doesn't have to look huge, you know. Nobody knew about Mother Teresa when she was helping thousands of people. Nobody knew about her. Nobody knew
No.
about her, right? Until somebody did, right? But she was helping people
Long before that.
long before that. And that's why today we're able to use her name even in this conversation. So don't worry about how big it gets to look like. Just one person at a time. You see a need, fill the need if you can fill the need, but don't ignore the need, right?
Yes.
Um, so thank you again, Camille, for coming on and sharing. For those of you who are here every week, thank you for being here. Continue to like and subscribe and share these videos. One person may see it and really connect to the conversation, that they can reach out and get the support that they get to have, right? Because maybe nobody else is speaking into their lives. When they come on the success code, we're going to speak life into you so you can become whoever you came here to be. That's the goal, right? So click on the link, subscribe, share. Click on the link when you see it for Fabulous Camille. I am asking you to donate to her cause so she can continue to feed as many people as possible. And also, I want to invite you to the Grit and Thrive Live event next week here in Dallas, Texas. We're going to go deeper, y'all. We're going to go deeper.
Ooh.
This was just the surface. We're going to go deeper, and we're going to bring in speakers who are going to speak into your life, and you will not leave the same way you came. So, this is the wrap up for this week's Success Code Fireside Chats. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next week.
Bye. Stay blessed. Stay